Now we are going to start our new chapter, that is the limit state of collapse in shear. Limit state of collapse in shear. So, now we are going to start the limit state of collapse in shear. Here we will see how the shear is acting in the beam and how we should provide the reinforcement to resist the shear. So let's start the limit state of collapse in shear. So we people know in the strength of material already we people have discussed the shear stress distribution. Suppose I am having one beam which is homogeneous of the same material I have used here. Suppose, so the shear stress distribution I can draw here, and it is parabolic, and it is maximum. This maximum at the CG of the cross section, right? So this is your tau max, and it is equal to 3/2 of tau average. This already we have studied in the strength of material. So tau we can calculate here the shear stresses, that is SF high bar divided by IB. The B is the width of the beam, S is the shear force, and A is the cross-sectional area, or the area where we want to calculate the shear stresses. The Y bar is the distance between the depth of the neutral axis and the CG of the area of interest. This is Y bar. I is the moment of inertia of the total cross-section set of the beam. I bar is the total moment of inertia, BD cube by 12. Suppose this is a D. So this we have studied in the strength of material, right? Where we have assumed because the beam is homogeneous, the material is homogeneous. But in the case of RCC, we are going to provide the reinforcement with the beam. In the beam, we are going to provide reinforcement in the RCC beam. So the stress distribution will not be parabolic now. It will be something different. So let's find the distribution of shear stress in the RCC beam. So suppose this is the depth. This is the cross section of the beam. Suppose this is the B. This is the reinforcement I have provided in the beam. This is suppose your depth of neutral axis XA. I have provided here. XA I have provided. And suppose this is the effective depth D. From top fiber to the CG of the or centroid of the steel reinforcement. If I consider the region above the neutral axis only, so there is a purely there is a concrete, it will apply the compressive forces. So we can calculate the stresses above the neutral axis first. Let's calculate. So here I can write, see, the shear stress, I know the shear stress tau equal to SF Y bar divided by IB, right? If suppose I want to calculate stresses in this region. In this portion I want to calculate the stresses So the distance this distance will be your y bar. The y bar is the distance between the neutral axis and the CG of the centroid of this area of interest. The y, and this is the y distance from the bottom of the area to the neutral axis, right? And this is total depth of the neutral axis XA. Here I can calculate the stress distribution, the shear stress distribution, where S is the shear force. Suppose the shear force is V into area. The area you can calculate, the width is given B. This red color area I can calculate, and it is equal to B into XA minus Y. Right? This is the area into Y bar. What is Y bar? Y bar is equal to Y plus XA minus Y divided by 2. Right? XA minus Y, that means this is the distance. If I divide by 2, it will give me from here, from the CG of that particular dashed area, divided by IB. So here I am writing I into B, where I will be your equivalent I. This I will not be your PD cube by 12. This I will be equivalent I, and it is due to the concrete as well as due to the steel. Right? Now, what we can do here, we can arrange it. So we can find here, this B to B is cancelled. And I will be getting here the shear stresses equal to V divided by I into XA square minus Y square. And this I is your equivalent I. Okay. I'm going to explain one more time. Somebody is asking, please explain one more time. See, suppose there is no reinforcement, first case, suppose there is no reinforcement, it is a purely homogeneous material, suppose. So for that, I have studied in the strength of material, the stress distribution is parabolic. The stress distribution is parabolic. This distribution I know, this is the parabolic. What I need to do here, the formula I know, tau is equal to SA Y bar divided by IB. This formula already we have derived in the strength of material. This will give the distribution of the shear stresses across the depth of the beam. So what I am going to do here, this time in the second case I have taken reinforcement in my beam. So I cannot directly say the distribution in my beam at the cross section will be parabolic. It may be something different. So let me find what should be the distribution of stresses. What will be the distribution of stresses across the depth of the RCC beam. So what I did, the formula is same, tau equal to SA Y bar divided by IB. I am calculating above the neutral axis. Above neutral axis. This all the calculations are for above the neutral axis. So this is the depth of the neutral axis XA, and suppose I want to calculate the area, I want to calculate the shear stress distribution in this region suppose. this red color dashed lines are there. In this region, I want to calculate the shear stress distribution, which is at the distance of y from the CG, from the neutral axis, and the CG of this area is y bar from neutral axis. Fine. Now what I am going to do here, S is the shear force. Suppose the V shear force is acting. The A means this much area. A means this area. This area only. Right? So what is the area? This dashed area is B into XA minus Y. This distance is your XA minus Y. So the area is B into XA minus Y into Y bar. Y bar is the distance of CG of this area from the neutral axis, Y bar. So it is nothing but sum of Y plus XA minus Y by 2, right? So it is Y bar. I is the I equivalent. The moment of inertia of the section, I equivalent. It is due to the concrete as well as due to the steel. If I arrange it, the B is cancelled. Both the B's are cancelled. Now the remaining things are V divided by I equivalent into XA square minus Y square. If it is XA square minus Y square means it is the equation of parabola. So I told you this I have calculated above the neutral axis. Means I can say here the distribution of stresses are parabolic from top fiber to the neutral axis. The stresses, shear stress distribution is parabolic from top fiber to the neutral axis in the RCC beam. But I do not know below the neutral axis. So let's calculate below the neutral axis. Let's note down this. Then we will see how to calculate shear stress distribution below the neutral axis. This we have calculated for above the neutral axis. Yeah, there will be divided by 2 also. Thank you. Somebody find, it is 2 equivalent. Fine. So in this way we have calculated the shear stress distribution above the neutral axis and we found it is parabolic. Let's calculate below the neutral axis. If I talk about below the neutral axis, so suppose I have drawn see here I can draw. Suppose this is your neutral axis. This is your neutral axis, below which we have provided steel reinforcement, above which we have provided the concrete, and the distribution of shear stresses we already got. It is parabolic. Now what I am going to do here, I am interested below the neutral axis now. The stresses I want to find here, I can say the tensile stresses taken by the, suppose I have taken, suppose this is the span, I have taken one section in the beam. Suppose this is the beam and I have taken one section of distance dx. I have taken one section of distance dx. So this is your dx. Right? This is your dx. the force is suppose acting here is T, and here T plus dt. Definitely it will be T and it will be T plus dt. How? See, this is your beam, and suppose the load is coming. The bending moment diagram, suppose this is your simply supported beam, the bending moment diagram will be something like this, right? So here, suppose the bending moment is M, and here definitely it will be greater, M plus dm, right? The bending moment here, I have taken this section of distance dx, definitely the bending moment available at this location is M, and here little bit higher, and the value suppose M plus dm, and I know due to this additional bending moment dm, definitely additional tensile forces will be there. Suppose due to the M, the force is T, so definitely due to the dm, the additional tensile force will be dt. So here I can write the total tensile force in this direction is acting suppose T at this end, and at this end suppose T plus dt due to this additional bending moment of dm, right? So now what I am going to do here, I want to calculate the shear stress distribution below the neutral axis. See how I can calculate dm. Dm is nothing but equal to the total additional tensile force into lever arm. How I calculate the moment of resistance? Tensile force into lever arm. So definitely this dm will be equal to this dt into lever arm, right? Now you can see here. So here dt will be equal to dm by lever arm. LA means lever arm. So forces, you can see here the forces are acting in this direction. Suppose I want to make it in the I want to bring it in the equilibrium condition. So suppose the T is acting 50 Newton. For example, suppose T is equal to 50 Newton and T plus dt is suppose equal to 60 Newton. Suppose I am taking a random value. Suppose T is 50 Newton and T plus dt is equal to 60 Newton. Right? So in this situation, I want to make it in a equilibrium condition. So one stress will act in that direction. One stress will act in this direction, which will take you 10 Newton. Right? If suppose the 50 Newton acting is in this direction, the 60 Newton is acting in this direction. So one more force will act in that direction of 10 Newton. And that force is nothing, that stress is nothing but your shear stress taken by the concrete. So this is the shear stress. In this way the shear stress acting in the concrete. So what I am going to do here, I want to analyze this, and this additional dt is nothing but your 10 Newton, and I know this dt is equal to dm by lever arm. Whatever the lever arm is available for the reinforcement steel at that level, I will be calculating that lever arm, and the dm is the additional bending moment due to which I am getting additional tensile force in the steel. So how to calculate the shear stress distribution? See here, this is dt equal to dm by lever arm. And I told you this dt will be taken by shear stresses. This tensile force will be equal to, this additional tensile force will be equal to the shear forces, the shear stresses. So suppose the shear stresses acting below the neutral axis is tau. So the force will be acting across along the length of the beam, and the width available is B. and the ds distance I have taken here, right? This is the total shear force, and this will be equal to dt. So there is a two equation number 1 and this is equation number 2. This additional force is nothing but your shear force, and which is suppose below the neutral axis, the shear stress is tau. So tau into area is the b, and the dx distance I have considered, the dx is the section distance dx. So it is equal to dt. So I can keep 1 equal to 2. So if I write tau b dx equal to dm by lever arm, from here I can calculate the value of tau equal to dm divided by b into dx divided by dm by dx into b into lever arm. Right? So please note down up to here. I need some space. Here I can write. So finally I got tau equal to dm by dx into b into lever arm. So I can write here my tau is equal to dm by dx into 1 by b into lever arm. Right? This is the shear stress. I know dm by dx is the shear force. So your tau will become equal to v divided by b into lever arm. B into lever arm means here I am not getting any value of depth. I am not getting any value of y. Means it is independent of y. The shear stresses remains constant below the neutral axis. So here I can draw the shear stress distribution. So I have seen above the neutral axis the shear stress distribution is parabolic, and below the neutral axis the shear stress distribution is constant, and it is constant up to the tensile reinforcement. It is constant up to the tensile reinforcement. So this is actually the shear stress variation, the distribution across the depth. The maximum shear stress I will be getting at the neutral axis, and it is constant up to the tensile reinforcement in the RCC beams. Fine. So the final comment I can write here, shear stresses are distributed parabolic from top fiber to the neutral axis and it is constant up to the tensile reinforcement. Right? So please note down one question I am getting here, why the shear stresses are constant? I have written this statement, why the shear stresses are constant below the neutral axis. So sir, we have derived this formula for shear stresses below the neutral axis. Tau equal to V divided by B into lever arm. And anywhere it does not depend on the value of Y or the depth below the neutral axis. In the case of above the neutral axis, it depends on the Y. If I change the Y, at the top fiber, I was getting zero shear stress, and if I change the value of Y, I was getting maximum Y, value of tau. Already we have discussed above the neutral axis. I found one formula also. That is V divided by 2I equivalent into XA square minus Y square. Means I am getting the depth, the value, I am getting the term of XA or the value of Y. If I change the value of Y, I will be getting the different value of tau. In the first case, about the neutral axis. But in the second case, when I have considered the region below the neutral axis, and I assume all the tensile stresses will be taken by steel, so I have taken one section I have taken, suppose the force acting D dt, and here this force is suppose acting D plus dt. Due to this additional bending moment, the additional force comes, and that will be take care by your shear stresses. And I found the formula V by BLA. Here there is no any term of Y. So for all the values of Y from neutral axis to the bottom of beam or no, up to the tensile reinforcement, it remains constant. That's why I have drawn vertical line, a constant line I have drawn up to the tensile reinforcement from the neutral axis, right? Sir, yes, this lever arm is the function of the depth, but yeah, okay, suppose I am considering lever arm is equal to D minus 0.42 XU, right? Here D is also constant, because so I know what depth I am going to provide in the beam. D is also constant, and the depth of the neutral axis is also constant. For a particular type of the section, X is also constant. So there is no variation in the depth. But in the first case, there was a variation in Y. I can calculate the variation in the stress at the different values of Y. But here, all these stresses are taken by steel only. So I am interested at the location of steel only. So stresses remains constant. Here D, in the lever arm, D is also constant, depth of neutral axis is also constant. Nothing is varying. So your shear stresses remains constant only. Am I able to clear your doubt? Thank you. So in this way, we have seen the shear stress distribution is first parabolic from top fiber to the neutral axis, and then it remains constant up to the tensile reinforcement in the case of RCC. But in the case of pure concrete or any other homogeneous material, it remains parabolic from top fiber to the bottom fiber. Now let's talk about this question actually asked in the GATE 2004. I will show you. There they have asked what is the distribution of shear stresses across the depth of the beam. So the answer should be, it varies parabolically from top fiber to the neutral axis, and then it remains constant up to the tensile reinforcement. Fine. So this was asked in GATE 2004 or 5. We'll see. Now we are going to start the analysis. Now we are going to start the design, how to design the shear reinforcement when the shear is coming into the picture. Now let's start. Suppose the shear stresses as per the AS 456, the nominal shear stress as per AS 456, tau V is taken as tau V equal to VU divided by BD. VU divided by BD. Second, shear strength of concrete. denoted by tau c, and it is equal to, see, this tau c is the grade of this tau c is the shear strength of concrete. It depends on the grade of concrete. If the tau c is more, sorry, okay, we will write it depends on the grade of concrete. It depends on the grade of the concrete. It also depends on the percentage of AST in the tension region. So suppose for higher grade of concrete, the tau c, the shear strength of concrete will be more. For more percentage of steel in the tensile zone, in the tension zone below the depth of neutral axis, the shear strength of the concrete will be also more. So this value of tau c we can take from IS code. The table is given, table number 19. If we know what the grade of the concrete we have used, suppose we have used FCK equal to M20. Suppose we have used M20 grade of concrete and we have used the percentage AST equal to say 0.4% or 1% or 1.2%, anything. Suppose we have used these two values in the table. They have prepared one table, table number 19. Depending upon the grade and the percentage of AST, they have given different values of tau c. That is the shear strength of concrete. From there, we can calculate the value of tau c. In the exam, suppose the question comes from this chapter, definitely the people will provide the table or they will give directly the value of tau c in the exam. So depending upon grade of concrete and the percentage AST, whatever you have provided in your beam, one table is there in IS 456, table 19. We can take directly the value of tau c from the table number 19. Please write down. So this is the tau v, which is the applied shear stresses. This is your shear force Vu. This is your shear force. Vu means it is a factored shear force. I should write it is a factored shear force. D is the width of the beam. Small d is the effective depth of the beam. Fine. Now write down. Third one is the tau c max. Here one more point we can write here in the shear strength of concrete. This is the strength of concrete. This is the shear strength of concrete without providing the shear stirrups. In the beams, you have seen at the side when the beam is casted, when the reinforcement is provided, the two type of reinforcement is provided. One is your longitudinal reinforcement along the length of the beam, and the one more is reinforcement is provided, that is the transverse reinforcement. The ring type, it is provided in the ring shape. So it is called shear stirrups. It is provided to take the shear stresses we will discuss. So without providing the shear stirrups, the shear strength of the concrete is tau c. Only suppose we have provided the longitudinal reinforcement, that is AST, longitudinal reinforcement, suppose we have provided in the beam. So the shear strength of the concrete is called tau c. So we can write here tau c is the shear strength. we have provided the longitudinal reinforcement, that is AST, longitudinal reinforcement. Suppose we have provided in the beam, so the shear strength of the concrete is called tau c. So we can write here tau c is the shear strength of concrete without shear stirrups. Without shear stirrups. Okay. Now let's discuss the maximum shear strength of concrete. Maximum shear strength of concrete is also called tau c max. It's also called tau c max. It is the maximum shear strength of concrete. It depends on the grade of concrete only. It depends on the grade of concrete only. But it is considering the longitudinal reinforcement and the shear reinforcement. See, in the first case, suppose I have prepared one beam. Suppose this is the beam I have prepared, and I have provided only the longitudinal reinforcement. I have not provided the transverse reinforcement, that is the shear stirrup. So the shear strength of concrete will be tau c, and this can be calculated from table 19 depending upon the grade of concrete FCK and the percentage of reinforcement AST. This is tau c. Now this is the beam. Let's talk about tau c max. What is tau c max? Suppose this is the beam and I have provided the longitudinal reinforcement. Maybe in the compression, in the tension region, we have provided all the longitudinal reinforcement, and we have provided the shear stirrups also, which are your transverse reinforcement. After providing the transverse reinforcement, definitely the shear strength of the concrete will increase. So that maximum shear strength of the concrete that we have given here by tau c, this is denoted by tau c max. So tau c max is the maximum shear strength. It is the maximum shear strength of concrete. The maximum shear strength of concrete after providing the shear stirrups. After providing the shear stirrups. Fine. So this is tau c max. This can be calculated. Is also given in the IS code. Just below this table, table 19, just below this table, you can find the maximum values of tau c, that is the tau c max. And of course, if the grade of concrete will increase, of course, if the grade of concrete is increased, then tau c max will also increase. Tau c max is generally equal to 0.62 under root FCK. Please note down this. The values of tau c max are given in the IS code. So directly we can calculate 0.62 under root f ck. It will give the same value which have been given in the IS code. You can cross check. You open your IS code and see the table number 19. Below that, you can find the value of tau c max, that is the maximum shear strength of concrete after the shear stirrups, means after providing of the shear stirrups, and it is almost equal to 0.62 under root FCK. So three things we have discussed, that is your tau v, tau c and tau c max. How to use these three values, these three parameters to design the shear stirrups, that we are going to discuss now. Suppose, you can say, somebody is telling it is approximately equal to the flexural strength of concrete. The flexural strength of concrete we know it is 0.7 under root FCK. Yes, we can say it is nearly equal to the flexural strength of concrete. Only mathematically. Actually, we need to calculate 0.62 under root FCK. It will give something different value. Right? It is given in the IS code. You can find. This formula is not given in the IS code. The value of tau c max is given in the IS code for the different grade of concrete. So this is the maximum shear strength of concrete. Now, see, suppose the shear forces I know. This is one beam. The load is coming. Suppose 50 kilonewton. This is the length of 10 meter. So the total reaction at support RA will be equal to 250 kilonewton. And definitely at this support RB, it is also equal to 250 kilonewton. Except support. Suppose this is the shear force diagram. It is positive, it is negative. So we can see except support at the other location, shear force is less. The maximum value of the shear force we can observe near the support only. Right? So what I am going to do now, so in this way I calculate the shear force first. Is the value of V. And suppose this is your factored load W, so definitely this value will be your factored value of shear force Vu. I can calculate the factored value of shear stress. The nominal shear stress as per IS code is Vu divided by BD. Vu divided by BD. Suppose this tau V is equal to 0.4 Newton per mm square. For any particular case, suppose I am getting the nominal shear stresses which are coming due to the load is suppose 0.4 Newton per mm square. And the tau c which I have provided, tau c means the shear strength of the concrete without shear stirrups, depends upon the grade of the concrete, and the percentage of AST is suppose 0.3 Newton per mm square. That means the total shear stresses are coming 0.4 Newton per mm square, and your concrete has resisted already 0.3 Newton per mm square. So the additional is 0.1 Newton per mm square. So I need to design my shear stirrups to take this excessive stress of 0.1 Newton per mm square. Right? So tau c is taking 0.3 Newton per mm square. The tau v is coming 0.4 Newton per mm square. So what I need to do here, stirrups shall be designed definitely the stirrups shall be designed for 0.1 Newton per mm square. right? How I have calculated this 0.1? It is nothing but equal to tau v minus tau c. This 0.1 Newton per mm square means tau v minus tau c. So for this particular value of 0.1 Newton per mm square, I should design my shear stirrups. So okay, I came to know I want to design my shear stirrups for 0.1 Newton per mm square, right? So let's design the shear stirrups. So case 1, your case first, if tau v is less than tau c, if tau v is less than tau c means whatever the shear stresses are coming, that are less than the shear strength of concrete. Suppose the tau v is coming, suppose the tau v is your 0.4 and tau c is your 0.5. Of course, the shear strength is more. No need to provide the shear stirrups now, but we will provide. In this case, the shear strength of the concrete is greater than whatever the shear stresses are coming. So by mechanics, no need to provide the shear stirrups, but we should provide the shear reinforcement because there may be diagonal cracks. So for the minimum ductility also, yesterday also we have seen in the last class, for the minimum ductility, we provide the minimum reinforcement. It may be your longitudinal, it may be your shear reinforcement. So here if I am facing this type of condition, so I will provide the minimum shear reinforcement. And the minimum shear reinforcement is ASV minimum divided by BSV shall be greater than or equal to 0.4 divided by 0.87 Fy. This is the formula where ASV is the area of stirrups, B is the width, ASV is the spacing of reinforcement, ASV is the spacing of stirrups, B is the width of beam. Please note down. Fi is the grade of steel and it will not be greater than 415 Newton per mm square. We do not use generally the grade greater than 415 Newton per mm square in stirrups. So I can calculate ASV. And this ASV equal to N into pi by 4 phi square. ASV equal to N into pi by 4 phi square. Phi is the diameter of bar, where phi equal to diameter of bar and N is equal to number of ledged. N is equal to number of ledged. So in the beam, suppose this is the beam, we provide the stirrups like this. Means we have provided 2 ledged stirrups. Here you can, I am drawing one figure. Suppose this is the beam. This is the reinforcement in the bottom and in the top. So I am drawing, this is the cross section. So this is the way I provide my reinforcement, right? So they are 2 ledged, 1 and 2. 2 ledged, 1 and 2. So it is called 2 ledged. So here N, the value of N will be 2. If I am providing 6 ledged stirrups, the value of N will be 6. If I am providing 4 ledged stirrups, the value of N will be 4. So that depends on the number of ledge. Phi is the diameter of bar. So this is the minimum shear stirrups, ASV minimum. This I provide if I face this type of condition, tau v is less than tau c. Now the second case, case 2. Case 2 is less than tau c max. If you see the condition, tau v is greater than tau c and tau v is less than tau c max, then we need to design the shear reinforcement. We need to design the shear reinforcement and it will be equal to VUS equal to 0.87 FY SV 0.87 FY SV D divided by SV, where VUS equal to tau v minus tau c into BD. All the nomenclatures are same. ASV is the area of stirrups, and it is equal to N into pi by 4, phi square, where phi is the diameter of bar and N is the number of ledge. D is the effective depth of the beam. Fi is the grade of steel which is going to be used for stirrups, and it should not be greater than 415. ASV is the spacing of shear stirrups, and tau v minus tau c. Definitely, if tau v is greater than tau c, so tau v we need to design the shear stirrups for the shear force of tau v minus tau c into BD. Right? If suppose tau v I got tau v minus BD is the applied shear force, and suppose it is 100 kilonewton, and tau c into BD means the shear strength of the concrete. The shear strength of concrete, it may be your 80 kilonewton. So definitely I need to design the shear stirrups for 20 kilonewton. That is tau v BD minus tau c BD. That formula I have written here, tau v minus tau c BD. And from here, if I know VUS, I can calculate the spacing of reinforcement for particular area of stirrup. Suppose I am using 8 mm stirrups. 1 minute, so in 1 minute we are going to finish. Suppose ASV, I am going to provide the stirrups of 8 mm diameter. So definitely the ASV value for 2 ledge stirrups will be 2 into pi by 4 8 square. So I know ASV, effective depth I know grade of steel, I know VUS for what value I need to design the shear stirrups, I know all the values, I can calculate the spacing. Okay? This is the one case. Right? Now the third case is if tau c max, if your tau v is greater than tau c max, then redesign the section. If you are facing this problem, tau v is greater than tau c, then definitely we need to redesign our section. Okay?